Hey there, Tano. I'm ShadowSaith, and today on Locked and Loaded, we're going to be taking a look at my build with the Prisma Obex. Now, first off, you guys are probably wondering what the fuck is he doing in the Simulacrum. Now, the easiest thing to show you with this is that the Simulacrum is actually going to be a lot easier just to show you guys builds. And I know, like, DK Diamantes occasionally when he's, doing stuff, and even like a gay guy plays, they'll test stuff out, and after they've got a couple of forma and everything into stuff, they'll test it out against level 100 something plus enemies. Now, realistically, that's not gonna do jack shit for the everyday player that isn't concerned with endgame. They're just concerned with having fun. So, because the only way you're really going to fight anything that's level 100 or up is really only going to be sorties, or if you're sticking in a survival or a defense for a long ass freaking time trying to set a record. So I'm gonna do this against level 70 Corpus because impact damage is actually really effective. Which I probably shouldn't have put 4 Corpus Techs in there. So let's take them out. And let's put 1 Corpus Tech in at level 70. We're gonna simulate this. I'm gonna overshield myself. I'd say that should be enough. Now the thing with this is an Entropy Detonation build. So if I manage to do perform a lethal finisher on an enemy that's down, then it will actually trigger a massive detonation against them. Now, let me spawn these guys again. And let me find the Corpus Tech. There he is. Ah, balls, I knocked him off. Not what I was trying to do. I was trying to actually do a little bit of damage and get him down so that when I did the finisher, it would trigger on all of them. Okay. This one ought to do it. Nope! Now, did you see how basically the vast majority of them that were around also died? Now that you guys have seen just how well this works against level 70s, God forbid you ever fight 4 level 70 Corpus Techs in the same exact area, because you will die if you're on your own. Of course, I'm also doing this melee only without using any powers, which is a big difference. But now that I've shown you guys this, now the kicker with this is this build can be used on both iterations of the Obex. I was just using it on the Prisma Obex for the faster attack speed and the better status chance. Not that I'm doing a status build. So really it was just for the faster attack speed. However, using this build on either iteration is going to require 3 forma. Now, well, it requires 3 Forma because both iterations of the Obex only have their dash polarity for your stance. You're going to need 2 V polarities for primed pressure point and primed fury, and then 1 for primed heavy trauma. If you don't have primed heavy trauma, on the other hand, you can still put that dash in for collision force, or you can sub it out for another V polarity for blood rush. If you don't have blood rush, I would recommend subbing that out for true steel, just so that you still get some increased critical chance. Obviously, maiming strike for your slide attacks to be a critical hit. And yes, although that damage isn't much, here's the kicker as to why it hurts even on Grineer if I were to test that out against them, which is what I was doing earlier. Shattering impact so that each attack from the Obex reduces enemy armor by 6. And that stacks. So that's not a one-time reduction, that is a reduction on hit. Anyway, here's the true selling point of this build. Entropy Detonation. At the moment, the only way to get this was through the Ambulus Reborn event, and then if anybody picked up any extras, to pick it up through trade chat, because they have not been added to the Syndicate drop list yet. However, I do get a strong feeling that they might be added with, or when the new Tenogen content drops this week, providing there is no delay to that. Anyway, here's the thing with Entropy Detonation. Like with all of the weapon augment mods you get through the Syndicates, it applies that Syndicate's little spool up AoE thing, so that once you've generated enough affinity, it triggers the AoE proc for whatever. For Cephalon Suda, it is magnetic with an energy buff. Anyway, what Entropy Detonation does is lethal ground attacks cause enemies to explode, dealing plus 1000 base damage. Now here's the thing, this is just the base damage from the explosion, and that is spread out amongst the AoE. Plus 20% of enemy max health blast damage in a 10 meter radius. Now this 1000, now what this means is that plus 1000 blast damage is not directly dealt to every single enemy. Each enemy caught in it is only taking a percentage of that damage. However, on top of the 1000 blast damage, they are taking additional damage that is 20% max health of whatever you perform the finisher on. So if you manage to get this off on a Corpus Tech, you're not going to get it off on a Bursa, but like a Corpus Tech, any sort of heavy unit from any faction, you're doing a nice little chunk of damage. Unfortunately, I don't have like direct health measurements on everything to give you guys the proper calculations, but that is how effective this build is. And I hope that you guys are willing to give it a try if you have either version of the Obex. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you like my video for whatever reason, hit that like button and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and player.me to stay up to date with the non-Warframe related news. And you can check out my Patreon link if you'd like to support the channel and its endeavors. It is not required, but it is greatly appreciated. And until next time, Tenno, this is Shep, or Stick to the Shadows.